Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Full-time MMA?
MMA,
Nothing
yeah.
else?
My life, man, yeah.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
Curtis Blaydes is pissed and he's tired of all the politics after Brock Lesnar was handed a title shot at UFC 226. And you can completely understand where a fighter's coming from, especially if you're a guy that was a #1 contender, you've been beating legends of the sport, and you thought you might be next for the title shot depending on what happened. Well then, DC, for one, you see Brock Lesnar coming in there and cutting a huge promo, and you realize, oh shit, he might be getting my title shot. So that's where you're already kind of start to feel a certain type of way if you're that #1 contender. And then if you listen to the post-fight press conference, that's when you probably went ape shit, because you hear Dana White saying, yeah, we're definitely making that fight. You hear Daniel Cormier saying, yeah, man, I'm not really interested in fighting Curtis Blaydes. I want to fight Brock Lesnar. He literally said, like, no, I don't want to fight Curtis Blaydes. But it's not because he's scared of him. It's because he's saying, look, I'm about to retire. I just came through, became the heavyweight champion. The champ. I didn't fight at heavyweight just to move divisions and start fucking defending that title like the heavyweight champion. My path to heavyweight was literally on my way out the door. I wanted to beat Stipe, maybe beat Brock or John Jones, and then I'm out of here. I didn't want to beat Stipe and then fucking Curtis Blaydes and then Alexander Volkov and then possibly Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis. I'm not just trying to fight all you fucking heavyweights. I'm trying to get some fucking paper. So with that being said, that's why DC wants the Brock Lesnar fight. And of all the people in the world who I would say deserve a money fight, it'd be a guy like Daniel Cormier. He's a company guy. He does his Thug Thizzle, one of the best commentators on the side. He does the Fox Sports booth. He's a classy guy. He doesn't come out here and talk shit on all these people failing drug tests. It kind of makes the UFC look bad when people do that, right? Like if you're a fighter and you're coming out saying, oh yeah, man, and you're a UFC fighter, all these guys are on steroids. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're kind of, and even if you're right, you're kind of snitching on your own job or your own company, even though you're an independent contractor. But DC doesn't do that, and he's one of the champions of the sport, one of the people that carry the torch for the sport in a sense, because all of the ways he's involved. He's even like a fucking high school coach, for God's sake, just because to give back even more. But then on top of that, his fighting skills, we haven't even talked about, they're unmatched. So and on top of that, he's been through so much personal shit as far as personal loss, family members close to him. I believe he lost a daughter. DC needs to write a book so I can actually go back and read the book, because I'm not the most crystal clear on every detail, but I do know the story is insane. He lost like his daughter and his father. Like, he's lost a lot of people close to him, and I realize a lot of people lose their fathers and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, when you look at everything DC specifically has been through, I mean, it's absolutely insane. His personal life and his athletic career could both be separate books that have so much value to them because of everything DC's been able to do. His wrestling career transitioned into the UFC, Strikeforce, winning that heavyweight Grand Prix, beating guys like Roy Nelson, Frank Mir, and other heavyweights that are respected, moving down to light heavyweight so you didn't have to fight your teammate Cain Velasquez and you could give him an opportunity. You were able to still be great at light heavyweight, beat every single person you encountered, not named John Jones, who failed a drug test. Then you moved back up to heavyweight, knocked out Stipe Miocic. Are you fucking kidding me? Just his athletic achievements are a book. Then when you talk about everything he went through in his personal life while still being able to juggle his athletic career, which I'm sure probably helped get his mind off a lot of the bullshit, having something to focus on and drive toward, that might have eventually, in kind of a little bit of a sinister way, helped. Because if you go through some bullshit, some emotional trauma, one of the best ways to get through that is to focus on something else and have a goal. You know, if something bad, terrible happens to you and you can go in the gym and you can go train and just take it out that much more, any anger, any pent-up animosity, anything you might have at the world, it might even make you that much better of a fighter. Because now you're in there pissed off, you got a chip on your shoulder every single day, and you're just in there grinding, and you're grinding even harder so you don't have to think about a lot of the other bullshit. So, man, DC, holy shit, like, I know a lot of people don't give him the respect he deserves even after beating Stipe Miocic. It makes no fucking sense to me. I don't know if these are people that are just like fatophobic. You know, some people don't like DC because he looks a little chunky. Is that literally what it is? Is it because like some people are just, is that why? What the fuck has DC done wrong to people to not get his respect? I'm talking about in his personal life and athletic career. He's been something to fucking marvel at. And he still doesn't get his respect. So with that being said, he's moving up to heavyweight. And I know we're talking about Curtis Blaydes here, but that all spun off. But either way, man, he's moving up to heavyweight. He got the heavyweight belt, and now he's just trying to cash in, dog. He's not trying to fucking go through that the new up and comers. Curtis Blaydes will have his day. He's still young in his career. He's only 27 years old, and he's a heavyweight. And he's a heavyweight that doesn't have a style that you might think would get him out of there sooner rather than later. I mean, you see actually heavyweights that get into slugfest like Mark Hunt and shit. They're still around up almost into their 40s and stuff like that if he's not older than 40. Curtis Blaydes is only 27 and he's a very high-level wrestler, so he's not just going in there and getting his egg scrambled every fight. A lot of fights he might not take that much damage because he's controlling somebody on the ground until he cuts him open with his fucking elbows with them razor blades. So Curtis Blaydes has a bright future in the sport. But he felt like he could have been getting a title shot now. You know what I'm saying? Because he just beat Alistair Overeem after beating Mark Hunt. And now that Stipe lost, there's no clear-cut #1 contender. So he's like, hey, holy shit, I might be getting this opportunity. And then Brock Lesnar enters the motherfucking arena, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? And this is if you're Curtis Blaydes. As a fan, you really shouldn't be saying much. I mean, because it's going to be a fun fight, a great fight. I'm sure you're going to be watching, and DC deserves it. But either way, if you are Curtis Blaydes, yeah, you might have been pissed. But with that being said, this is what he had to say on Twitter. He said, tired of all the politics, and he did delete this tweet. Tired of all the politics? Like, is it even about fighting? First CM Punk, now Brock Lesnar? I'll just continue to grow as a martial artist and become more dangerous, and I refuse to resort to that WWE BS fake arguing just to draw in the lame-ass casual fans. Pfft. And, you know, Curtis Blaydes, he seemed like he's pissed off at the point, and you could imagine that was probably in the moment. You know, I'm not going to hold this against him. He did delete the tweet. You could pick this apart if you wanted to. Say, yeah, but Brock Lesnar's not the same as CM Punk. Brock Lesnar's a former champion. Brock Lesnar's a heavyweight. Brock Lesnar's a big money. All of these reasons Brock Lesnar's different than CM Punk. Yeah, CM Punk's going to bring some money too. But either way, former champion, legit combat experience with his wrestling. Brock Lesnar's just different than CM Punk. The only thing that they have in common is the WWE, but their combat experience is completely different. But whenever Curtis Blaydes says that he refuses to resort to that WWE BS, that's not a good sign for him. Now you can, okay, that's fine for you, Curtis Blaydes, but I'm just saying that's not how you get your opportunities in this sport. Not right now. If you want to do that, if you want to just say fuck all of this WWE BS, I'm not talking about the fights. I'm talking about outside the fights. You might not get the next title shot. Just being 100% honest. Like the fucking OG Chael Sonnen said, all you fighters that want to come out here and talk about this confrontation being fake, stay broke. You guys are going to be the people, that's what DC actually said, but Chael Sonnen said, you guys are going to be the people that open the curtain for the DCs and the Brock Lesnars. Because you guys don't want to build a fight, you don't want to sell a fight outside of the cage. Alright, you don't want to play the bad guy, whatever, however you can sell a fight outside the cage. You don't want to create a storyline outside of the cage? We're not asking you to fucking come in the octagon and throw fake punches. We're not asking you to script your fights. But if you want to sell your fights, you might get some opportunities. If you want to either talk some, whatever you got to do out here, then you can get an opportunity. And if you don't, if you just want to say, I refuse to resort to that WWE BS fake arguing just to draw in the lame-ass casual fan, well, then better believe the casual fan's not going to want to watch you. And when the casual fan does not want to watch you, you're not going to be selling pay-per-views or putting that many asses in seats. And therefore, you might have to go on the Max Holloway, Tony Ferguson route, where you have to win 9 fights in a row to get your title shot because you refuse to do any fake arguing or selling a fight, even if it's not fake. I mean, we saw Mike Perry and Darren Till fucking cage side at each other's necks. I don't even know if that was fake, but either way, man, I wouldn't be against it. I'm not against a fighter doing something like a publicity stunt, to say, outside of the octagon to sell their fight. I think doing something like that, even if it's not a publicity stunt where you're doing something cringy, just building your brand outside of it, outside of the octagon. Now that's going to be one of the fastest ways. People, of course, are going to, if they feel like you have some heat with someone, they're going to, of course, want to watch that fight. You know, people, if you're just going bodies with your homie, let's say in the basement, yeah, it's entertaining, but people would much rather see, and it's a lot more entertaining if you're fighting someone that you really don't fucking like. You know what I'm saying? Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. You know what made me want to see that fight more? In the beginning, Derek Lewis was talking about, man, I don't know why everybody really wants to see this fight. It must be because they like black-on-black violence. And I was kind of like, I kind of see where Derek Lewis is coming from. I mean, yes, it would be a great fight, but at the same time, I don't know why this fight's so much better than Francis Ngannou versus Mark Hunt. That's also a great fight. But people wanted to see Hunt versus Lewis. Even though Mark Hunt was proven a more entertaining fighter in my mind than Derek Lewis inside the cage. Inside the cage. But we're talking about outside. Derek Lewis is a fan favorite for his antics outside the cage, and that's part of the reason people wanted to see this fight. One of the things he switched up doing, it looks like someone got the memo to him. Somebody that was like, hey, do you want to sell tickets, brother? This is what I understand. You don't understand. You don't want to see you versus Francis Ngannou black on black crime just because. But check this out, bro. It's gonna help sell the fight, and it looks like Derek Lewis started doing that because he started saying shit like, oh yeah, this African booty scratcher and motherfucking I'm paying him back for slavery. Francis Ngannou was even with the shit. You know, he was even coming out saying, be careful what you wish for. And motherfucking, oh yeah, he's been talking a lot of shit coming into this fight. Now he has to pay. Like, you know what I'm saying? That makes people want to watch the fight. Now, what happens when you're in the fight, people will probably forget about. But the game for you is to get people to the fight. Once they've spent their money on the tickets, once they've done whatever they need to do, placed their bet, spent their money on the tickets, once they've bought their motherfucking popcorn, once they've ordered the pay-per-view, they can be disappointed, as we were with Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. But guess what? They sold a lot of motherfucking tickets and pay-per-views leading up to that point. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of the trash talk. And this is even more to what I'm saying before we get out of here. Even more to what I'm saying. This was proven because Francis Ngannou, in his last fight, everyone gave him shit because he looked like he got exposed. Oh, he ain't got no cardio. Oh, he's not. People thought he was done with, right? But coming into this fight, people got their hopes back up like they didn't just see that. Even if you go watch Derek Lewis's last fight, wasn't the most entertaining fight. I mean, the first 2 rounds, I was actually feeling kind of bad. Like, oh shit, Derek Lewis is about to lose. God damn. What? This is my dog. I didn't want to see him lose right there, but he came back and got the 3rd round finish. But either way, it's not like he had a fucking slobber knocker in there with Marcin Tybura. And Francis definitely didn't have a slobber knocker with Stipe. They were literally both coming off of 2 fights that weren't the most entertaining, but everyone still wanted to see this fight. And a part of the reason is they started to sell it. Derek Lewis started to talk trash. Francis Ngannou started to talk trash. And so that's when you start feeling like, okay, yeah, but somebody's going to sleep here. These dudes actually don't like each other. Like, I understand they've got potential to be, this fight has potential to be boring, but man, if it's not, this could be great. And we all fell for it. We all fell for it. We all fucking fell for it. We were all disappointed by the co-main event, even though we should have known it was a possibility. But hey, it is what it is, man. Curtis Blaydes deleted that tweet and left this one up though. Brock Lesnar needs PEDs to be beat one of the greatest striking heavyweights in combat sports history, Mark Hunt. Guess who didn't? Just saying. And yeah, that, like I said, like a lot of the times with Tyron Woodley, he's got a good point, but nobody really gives a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're right. You did beat Mark Hunt, and it was more impressively, and you didn't fail your drug test. And guess what else? You also beat Alistair Overeem after that. But guess who doesn't give a fuck? The casual fans. And so if the casual fans don't know you beat Mark Hunt and Alistair Overeem, but they do know, everybody knows Brock Lesnar just pushed DC halfway across the octagon, you're going to have about 500,000 more people that want to see the Brock Lesnar fight because this motherfucker broke into ESPN and motherfucking all of the sports shows, Fox Sports, ESPN, everybody was talking about Brock Lesnar the next day, pushing Daniel Cormier. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's probably going to get this opportunity. And on top of that, like I said in the very beginning, DC deserves it. Of all people, DC does deserve this big money fight. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Could Curtis Blaydes be fighting for the title next? For sure. Is he going to be? Absolutely not, especially after that first tweet where he says he refuses. We'll see if he keeps up that mindset for sure. I mean, all of these fighters, all of the fighters, if you're a fighter and you're listening to this, we'll see if you keep up that mindset. And if you do, you can. Maybe you just want to. But like Chael said, you guys are going to be the fighters that open the curtains for the Daniel Cormiers and the Brock Lesnars and these people that are selling tickets. And, you know, you can go on your 9-fight winning streak and you might eventually get an interim title fight like Tony Ferguson. But we just saw what happened to his interim title shot. Now it's really like, whew, are you sure you want to go that route? Because even if you win 9 fights in a row, you ain't guaranteed shit. You might want to start talking some trash or doing whatever. It is what it is, man. Just get a manager. That's what I would advise. If you're uncomfortable talking trash by yourself and you don't know the best things to do, I would probably say get one of these better managers. You know, the fighters that have these high-level managers, the Malky Kawas, the Abraham Kawas. I mean, off the top of my head, that's who's coming to my head. There's also another guy I can't forget to mention. Who's Tony Ferguson and them's coach? I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but you guys know the biggest managers in the game. They seem to have some of this stuff figured out. You know what I'm saying? A lot of their fighters will talk some trash. Maybe they can give you a little advice, or you can fuck with your boy Big Full-Time, man. But either way, it is what it is. Let the Full-Time family know what you guys think in the comments about Curtis Blaydes being tired of all the politics. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates, predictions, betting advice. We do songs. We do fantasy fights. We've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lechemedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. And also, if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOG.